Hi guys, this is Connie, back for some more Connie Reads Lawn Boy Returns. We are on chapter 18, titled The Theorem of What Comes Next. We were packed and out of the house later that morning. We discovered that Zed had come back while we were out and taken the china he'd used for his party and most of Mom's good towels, which he'd used after his showers. We honestly didn't want those back. He'd also taken the easy chair, the big television from the den, and every single battery, flashlight, and light bulb in the house, as well as the contents of the deep freeze in the garage. The only hassle was getting my lawnmower hitched to the back of our car. I couldn't see leaving it behind. We settled into the cabin in no time flat. My mom spent a lot of time reading, and Dad got the shed set up so he could work on inventions, and I made a couple of new friends. We hung out at the frozen custard stand, and they came over to fish with me. The cabin came with a small sailboat tied to the end of the dock, so I was teaching myself to sail. After about the 12th time I tipped over or got stuck in the middle of the lake waiting for the wind to come up and blow me back to shore, I wondered, would I have attempted to learn about the sailboat if I hadn't found that note from Grandpa? I didn't hear from anyone who'd been at the last staff meeting except Grandma. How come? They were all so busy dismantling operations that they didn't have time to get in touch, or were they mad? Were they all mad at me, and did they ever want to talk to me again? Life had become quiet and peaceful, and I felt like hundreds of pounds of pressure had been lifted from my shoulders. I told myself I wasn't the kind of guy who was meant to be rich, that I didn't need the money, and I could live without it just fine. I missed the work though. It felt weird, kind of guilty, sleeping in every morning and all day long. I kept checking my watch, as if I had a yard to get to, and I wondered what everyone was doing. I had a tough time falling asleep every night too. Now that I wasn't exhausted all the time, sleep didn't come as easy and deep as it had. I started to count the days until we would get back home and I could start school. I didn't even mind the prospect of facing Trig. Grandma showed up for dinner the second week. She brought me an old-fashioned hand-cranked ice cream machine and said, "There's no need to fear the wind if your haystacks are tied down." I was getting better at translating Grandma speak and asked, "Was this Grandpa's too?" "Yes, your Grandpa loved ice cream. He always said no one ever matched his vanilla kumquat recipe, which goes to show that which just goes to show that wooden shoe trees don't help a bit when it's time to vote." Ah, yes. Well, I was studying the crank and wondering where to find the instructions for making ice cream by hand. I'd noticed that the lakeside town up the road didn't have a decent ice cream parlor. I started to get that buzzy itch in the back of my head like when I had first started the lawn business. Kenny and Alan could come up with us next summer, and if we could start a little stand near the town square. And that's the end of chapter 18. Well, I think there's one more chapter to go, so be careful with that and enjoy. Please and thank you, and I will see you for the next installment. Bye.